I was sitting across from a potential client when my brother walked into the coffee shop uninvited. He slid into the chair beside me and smiled at the client like we'd planned this. "Don't worry," Ethan said smoothly. "She's just the creative side. I handle all the real decisions now." The client blinked, confused. I sat there, frozen, and Ethan smirked like he'd already won. That's when I knew. He wasn't helping me anymore. He was replacing me. "My name's Hannah. I'm 29 years old. And 3 years ago, I started a graphic design and branding business from my one-bedroom apartment. It wasn't huge. I didn't have investors or a fancy office or a team. Just me, my laptop, and a growing list of clients I'd worked my ass off to build. Late nights, tight budgets, self-taught skills, but it was mine. 6 months ago, my brother Ethan asked if he could help out. He'd dropped out of a marketing program and didn't know what to do next. He said he wanted to learn the ropes, help with admin work, maybe answer emails. I trusted him. He was my brother. I wasn't some corporate boss. I didn't have a safety net. But I'd built something real, something I was proud of. And I wasn't about to let anyone take it. If you've ever trusted someone who turned around and stabbed you in the back, hit subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. I want to hear your story, because what happened next almost destroyed everything I'd worked for. It started small. About 2 weeks before that client meeting, I noticed Ethan taking phone calls in the other room. He'd close the door, keep his voice low. When I asked, he'd say it was nothing, just following up on leads. I didn't think much of it. He was learning. He was my brother. Then I got an email from one of my longtime clients. "Hey Hannah, just wanted to confirm. Is Ethan the main contact now? He's listed as primary on the last invoice." I stared at the screen. Primary contact? I confronted him that night. "Ethan, why is your name on client emails?" He laughed. "I was just trying to take some pressure off you. You're always so stressed." I felt guilty. Maybe I had been stressed. Maybe I was overreacting. So I let it go. A few days later, I opened my business email and saw something that made my stomach drop. Ethan had created a new email domain using our business name, but his name was listed as founder. He'd been redirecting inquiries, repositioning himself as the face of the company. I confronted him again. This time, he didn't laugh it off. "You're good at design, Han," he said coolly. "But you're not a business person. Clients want someone who sounds confident, professional. I'm doing us both a favor." I couldn't breathe. "This is my business, my name, my work." He shrugged. "Besides, Mom and Dad agree. They think it's better if I take the lead. You've always been emotional." That word hit me like a slap. Emotional. I realized right then, this wasn't improvised. He'd been planning this. I walked out of the room shaking, not with sadness, with anger I'd never felt before. A week later, Ethan scheduled a pitch meeting with a big potential client. He didn't tell me. I only found out because the client mentioned it in a group chat. I showed up anyway. Ethan looked annoyed when I walked in. "I didn't think you needed to be here," he said. "I've got it handled." I sat down anyway, and I watched him present my design mock-ups as his concepts. The client loved them, praised him. I sat there, invisible. When we left, I didn't say a word. I didn't trust myself to speak. But it got worse. That weekend, we had a family dinner. My mom asked how the business was going. Ethan jumped in before I could answer. "It's doing great now that I'm managing the client side. Hannah's creative, but she doesn't really get strategy." My dad nodded approvingly. "That's smart. You two make a good team." I tried to speak up. "It's my business. I built it before Ethan even." My mom cut me off gently. "Sweetheart, don't be territorial. He's helping you grow." I felt my throat tighten. Even my parents saw me as the sidekick now. I excused myself early, went home, tried to breathe. A few days later, I tried to log into the business bank account. Password changed. I tried the project management software. Locked out. I tried the company Instagram. Admin access removed. I called Ethan furious. "What the hell did you do?" He sounded calm. Too calm. "I'm just organizing things. You'll get access back once we formalize roles. I'm talking to a lawyer about making this official." My stomach dropped. "A lawyer?" "Yeah. A partnership agreement. 50-50. Fair, right?" "Fair?" "I started this business. I owned it. He'd contributed 6 months of admin work, and now he was trying to legally steal half of it." I hung up. I didn't sleep that night. I realized this wasn't sibling rivalry. This was theft. But I also realized something else. I'd been documenting everything. Every invoice. Every contract. Every client email. And Ethan had no idea. What he didn't know was that I'm not just creative. I'm careful. From day one of my business, I kept meticulous records. I had signed contracts with every client under my name as sole proprietor. I had tax filings, business registration documents, trademark applications, all in my name. Ethan was never a partner. He was a volunteer, an informal assistant at best. I also had screenshots of every email where he repositioned himself, every message where he undermined me. I'd been too trusting to think I'd need them. But now I did. I made a quiet call to my friend Vanessa. She's a lawyer. I explained everything. She listened carefully, then said, "He has no legal claim. But you need to act fast before he manipulates clients or files something false." I started preparing. I didn't tell anyone. Not my parents. Not mutual friends. I just watched. Listened. Planned. Ethan thought I was emotional. He had no idea how calm I could be when I had proof. Vanessa helped me draft a formal cease and desist letter. She also helped me reclaim access to all my accounts using legal ownership documents. Meanwhile, Ethan got bolder. He started telling clients he founded the company and I joined later to help with design. He changed the website bio to say, "Founded by Ethan Turner." He even printed new business cards, CEO and founder under his name. Our parents stayed clueless, proud of his initiative. My mom called me one afternoon. "I'm so glad you two are working together. Ethan's really stepped up." I didn't argue. I was done explaining. Instead, I quietly contacted my clients directly, re-established myself as the owner and creator. Most were confused by Ethan's behavior. A few expressed concern. One longtime client said, "I was wondering why he kept talking over you. That didn't sit right." I realized I had more support than I thought. I just had to speak up. Then I found out Ethan was planning a meeting with a potential investor. Someone he claimed would take the business to the next level. He didn't invite me, but I saw the forwarded email. He was trying to convince this investor that he was the sole owner. That was it. I decided the confrontation happens now. I arranged a private meeting with Ethan at a cafe. Just the two of us. I kept my tone calm, almost friendly. He arrived cocky, thinking I was finally ready to negotiate. He slid a printed partnership agreement across the table. "I had a lawyer draw this up. Sign it, and we can move forward. Clean and fair." I looked at it. Co-founder. 50-50 equity split. I smiled, slid it back. "No." He frowned. "Hannah, don't be stubborn. This is good for both of us." I pulled out a folder. Thick, organized, tabbed. I laid it all out in front of him. Business registration documents, my name only. Signed client contracts, my name, my signature, tax filings, sole proprietor, screenshots of his emails stealing credit, trademark application. Filed weeks ago, just in case. Ethan's face went pale. I said evenly, "You were never my partner, Ethan. You were a volunteer, and now you're done." He tried to recover. "You can't just kick me out. I've been running things." I cut him off. "You've been pretending, and I have a lawyer who's very clear. You have no claim. If you contact my clients again, if you use my business name, I'll file for fraud and harassment." He stammered, "You're bluffing." I pulled out the cease and desist letter, signed by Vanessa's firm. I slid it across the table. "This is your only warning." Ethan stared at it, then at me. For the first time, he had nothing to say. I stood up. "I trusted you. I gave you a chance. You tried to erase me from something I built. That's not business, Ethan. That's betrayal." I walked out. He sat there frozen. 2 weeks later, Ethan's investor pulled out. Turns out they did basic research and realized he had no ownership. Clients distanced themselves from him. He was back to being unemployed, aimless. Then he showed up at my apartment. His voice was shaking. "I messed up. I'm sorry. Can I still help? I need this." I looked at him calmly. "No. You need to figure out your own path, just like I did." I closed the door. Looking back, it wasn't just about the business. It was about being seen, respected, believed. My parents eventually learned the truth when clients congratulated me on the business's growth. They were embarrassed, awkward. But I didn't need their apology anymore. I rebuilt my boundaries, my confidence, my client base. The business is growing, but more than that, I'm growing. I hired a real assistant, not family, trademarked everything, formalized my systems. Ethan tried to reach out one more time through our mom. Asked if there was any way back. My answer was kind, but final. I hope he finds something he can build himself, but it won't be with me. For the first time, I didn't feel guilty for protecting what was mine, and that silence, his silence, didn't scare me anymore. It freed me. If this story hit home for you, if you've ever had to stand up to someone you trusted, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I read every single one. And if you've been through something similar with family or business, share your story below. You're not alone, and your voice matters here. Let's keep this conversation going.